the White House staff. Like, his view is that they all work for him and they're to execute his orders. She comes to this as an election denier, as her primary qualification. Like, the reason why Donald Trump likes her is because she was an election denier. It helps that she was also a vote suppressor. It helps that she also, did some other things that he was pleased with in Florida when she was AG. But she is an election denier through and through, and she has proven that mettle, and he believes she will do what he wants her to do, both when he says it out loud and when he doesn't have to say it out loud. So of course she is going to pursue his political opponents, both the political opponents who have been identified in the past, people like Liz Cheney, but also political opponents that come up along the way, and there will be plenty of opportunities where along the way someone gets out of line with what Donald Trump likes, and Elon Musk decides he's going to do what he's going to do with his money, and Pam Bondi does what she's going to do with her prosecutors, and Kash Patel does what he does with his FBI agents. And that's just how Donald Trump has used the world working. And if you listen to what he says, and you read Project 2025, and you listen to what his sycophants say, that's what they believe should happen. And that's, I think, the word we have for the next 4 years, and we should not fool ourselves.
And what, Andrew Weissman? I mean, I think that it is true that by the end of his 4 years, Donald Trump dramatically strained every agency, especially through the COVID pandemic. But he started by trying to burn down the Department of Justice.
Well, look, the panoply of what we're seeing is a complete attack on the rule of law through the Department of Justice, an attack on, it's hard to say the rule of science, gravity. I mean, you have somebody who could really cause hundreds and thousands of deaths being posed for Health and Human Services. I mean, the idea of attacking vaccines is, I mean, after living through COVID and seeing hard data, I mean, I have to say that even though I'm a DOJ person still through and through, that's the one that it's still inconceivable to me. But if you just put those two together, and then the idea of somebody who for 4 years was the head of the legal and intelligence community, who worked for the President of the United States, the idea that he would not talk to us people, no one saying that the choice for DOJ or for the idea was what was about the intelligence community to go to defense, but not leader as people after seeing how important that is to security.
So Donald Trump can do that, and just Saudi Arabia can send a bunch of people, and Russia can send a bunch of people, and for the next 4 years, they can rent out rooms. Trump can charge whatever he wants, and all that money flows directly into his family's coffers. Again, this is not the result of, some massive investigation. The lever really dug through some documents and found it. This is just what's happening, fully in plain view. Corruption beyond, not just the most corrupt administration in U.S. history being promised to us, more corrupt than all of the prior
Jethro.
administrations
Jethro.
combined. Okay, that is what they're promising, and they're going to deliver.
It's my finger. Why are you biting me?
Taking the transphobic baton from Nancy Mace, Marjorie Greene is back. She's technically in Congress. She's got to technically do something with her time. And so she's attacking Representative Sarah McBride. In particular, she sent out this tweet saying, "This groomer is lying to children. God created us in his image, male and female. He created us. No doctor, body mutilation, or a lifetime of pharmaceutical drugs will ever change your sex or gender. Congressman Timothy McBride, dead naming, is a child predator and liar." And so, I want to play the video that is apparently so damning that Marjorie Greene can accuse a new colleague of raping children with the only evidence being the video that you're now about to see.
She went with her family to the doctor, and the doctor said that she's a girl, and everyone should see her and treat her like a girl, right? Which is to say that they should call her Jazz, and they should treat her with respect and be nice to her. But can I ask you one more question? So that journey that she had from people thinking she was a boy, and the fact that Jazz knew she was a girl, to her parents and her friends accepting her as the girl that she is, that journey is called being transgender. And like Jazz said, that makes her a little different from some of the other kids. And Jazz at the end talks about how being different is good, right?
Dear God, no. Oh my God, I can't believe that you can even show that video without breaking some sort of law. It's just explaining the concept of being transgender. That's it. With the goal being that maybe if people have it explained in very basic terms, like you saw right there from the representative, then some of those kids won't grow up to be as, again, fundamentally broken as a Marjorie Greene or a Nancy Mace, people whose brain can't hold within it the concept of being transgender, and they fall apart when even thinking about it. Not just them. Libs of TikTok thinks that the book is so unacceptable that just showing images from the book really tells the tale. Here are some photos from the book. Oh, okay. I thought there was supposed to be something bad there, something that makes McBride look bad. That's what a kid's book looks like. I have a 17-month-old daughter. I read a lot of them. That's kind of what it looks like. Well, again, what is so bad there? But I will also say, look, I'm being a little bit sarcastic because I'm talking about Marjorie Greene, who is utter garbage. I just want to remind everyone, and it's pointless. I don't know how many years you would have to go back, but I don't think it's that many years where a congressperson calling another congressperson a groomer and sexual predator with no evidence whatsoever would be enough for you to potentially be removed from office, certainly to be formally censured by the House of Representatives. I feel totally confident that that would have happened in a prior time, and now you just call people rapists based on their identity. Like, again, if she's concerned about sex predators, Marjorie Greene, I would refer you to Pete Hegseth, who's being questioned by the Senate right now. Sarah McBride just is trans. Again, people's actions, actual accused rapists' actions don't matter. Pete Hegseth is accused of rape, doesn't matter. Donald Trump is accused of rape, doesn't matter. Sarah McBride's identity matters. Actions don't matter, identity matters. Because the mock-up movement, right-wing politics, is just identity politics. That's literally all it is. And if I can be petty for just a few more seconds, I assume that when Marjorie Greene sees this, what I have said will annoy her more. I just want to annoy you a little bit more. When you say in your tweet, God created us in his image, do you know that God doesn't actually have an earth human gender? God is, if God exists at all, a metaphysical concept, bigger than whether you have vulva or a penis or whatever. But it is apparently very important to you, and you think that you're speaking for God, very important to God that we use the his pronoun, even though there's no biological reality to that. God doesn't have a penis. God doesn't have balls. I've checked, and there's no balls there, and yet you think it's very important that we use the male pronoun rather than another one. And I've also noticed that when you guys draw pictures of God, you'll often put like a long beard on or whatever, even though God obviously doesn't have hair because God isn't an actual physical being. So that's sort of like artistic, gender-affirming art representation, I guess. And so I think that you do actually understand using preferred pronouns and gender-affirming care. I think that you do fundamentally understand it. I would just hope that you could give us the same empathy and respect that you give to your wildly inaccurate conception of what God is like. Anyway, with that said, we're going to move on to our final story to close out this first hour. I hope, by the way, I don't know for sure if she's watching today, so just send her the clip on Twitter. Reply to whatever it is that she tweets. She unfortunately probably won't see it because the only things that you see on Twitter are from accounts that pay Elon Musk $8 a month. But anyway, send it to her. Okay, now with that, let's jump to this. The people have spoken, and they are apparently not very happy about what Joe Biden did as president. At the very least, they think that on a lot of different issues, America has sort of lost ground. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, he lost the election, so we knew that people were a little bit frustrated, which is true. But you might not have known across so many different topic areas. So here is a poll. Semaphore put this out. It's a Gallup poll, though. And you can see what issue areas do they believe we made progress on, which are sort of the same as they were 4 years ago, and where have we lost ground? And lost ground, just if we can put up the chart, just has way too many of those areas. So on the federal debt, have we lost ground? Which, look, the debt is higher, so I think it is literally factually true to say that we've lost ground. I will remind everyone, Donald Trump added trillions and trillions of dollars to the debt, but it is true, it is higher. Immigration, we've lost ground, even though I will remind everyone that the actual number of people being encountered at the border in the last couple of months is exactly at the level it was during Donald Trump pre-pandemic. People seem to forget that, but that's fine. They're overall concerned. The wealth gap, we've lost ground. People are not wrong there. We 100% have. Taxes, they believe that we've lost ground. I don't know entirely what that means because I don't know what massive tax policy was passed during this time, but they clearly want something. Now, do they want Donald Trump to once again throw trillions of their dollars at the richest people in the world? I don't know, but they want something. And you can see the economy, obviously, not as high as some of these others, but they definitely feel like we've lost ground there. Even like the sort of abstract thing of our position in the world. But really, it goes across so many of these different areas. The only one where they feel like we've really made ground is the situation for LGBT people. And to that I will say, I respectfully disagree. I mean, I think it would be awesome if we did. And if you are a member of that community that feels that things are better than they were 4 years ago, then that's great, because they sure need to be. But I don't know, when I think back to like 4 years ago, I feel like the right hadn't necessarily gotten totally spooled up on the transphobia. I feel like things are worse now than they were. But anyway, yeah, everything having to do with racism and infrastructure and climate change. And look, we can't necessarily say that we understand exactly how the causality works here. That people made these evaluations and then they voted against Joe Biden as a result of that, although that would be perfectly rational. It could be that there's a core thing that's making them frustrated, and then as a result of that, the lens through which they see a lot of these other issues is also very negative. But again, look, I'll leave that to the academics. The issue is that on almost all of these issues, people aren't happy with where we're at. Now, there is one thing that Biden feels like he's not getting enough credit for. He just said, I believe this was just yesterday, he said that his foreign policy leaves Trump with a, quote, very strong hand. To which I say, great, I just want Trump to have the strongest hand when it comes to foreign policy. That'll be great for everyone, including the United States. But anyway, this is not only a postmortem of Joe Biden's term, it's a warning to Donald Trump, dude. People see it. Like, if things aren't going well, you can only hoodwink them so well and for so long. And you shouldn't need this example. You got thrown out after 4 years because you did a terrible job. And I just think that we're going to have a version of this. Semaphore is going to put an article, Gallup's going to do the poll, and I think people are going to get whiplash on how much worse things can get over the next 4 years. But we'll see. Okay, with that said, we got to end the first hour. Thank you, everyone. We got more to come, including maybe a little bit of lighter news in the aftermath. I'll see you in just a few.
I told y'all to run there. Come on now. Come on now.
Hey guys, what are you guys doing? How'd you do that? Looks complicated.
Oh, it ain't that hard. Joe, tell him. Man.
It's easy. Pick more or less on at least 2 players, enter your lineup, and lock in for the game.
I could have told you that. I could have told you that. They said that.
Download the PrizePicks app today. Enter $5 and get $50 instantly with Code TV. PrizePicks, run your game.
There was no other way for this war to end than with a hostage deal. And I'm deeply satisfied this day has finally come, for the sake of the people of Israel and the families waiting in agony, and for the sake of the innocent people in Gaza who suffered unimaginable devastation because of the war. We've had many difficult days since Hamas began its terrible war.
So before. Economist Mark Carney is here. Yeah. You asked for it, we listened.
We will be discussing whether or not he's going to run to be the Liberal Party of Canada's new leader, or if he will be the governor of our 51st state. We're not doing that. But of course, all news pales in comparison to what is occurring right now in the state of California. A horrifying inferno whose danger even now has not passed. But even amongst the tragedy and sadness, there have been incredible moments of human compassion and kindness. Neighbors looking after neighbors, charitable contributions pouring into GoFundMe from all areas of the world, mainly the tireless and heroic actions of firefighters in the California region. Some of them prisoners fighting with incredible bravery and tenacity. Rescue workers from all over the country. Rescue workers from outside the country. Rescue workers from Mexico. Damn your open borders, Biden! I guess they are sending us their best. You want to know how bad it is in California right now? Here's how bad it is.
President Volodymyr Zelensky has offered to send 150 Ukrainian first responders to help battle the massive wildfires.
Wow. We're so f***ed that a country that has been relentlessly bombed for almost 3 years was like, you poor bastards. But it is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, of man's ability across cultural and political and religious lines in times of crisis to appeal to our better angels. As Archbishop Desmond Tutu once said, we are made for goodness and love and compassion. Or, as our own president-elect put it,
Trump shared a meme on Truth Social of fires raging behind the Hollywood sign, which was photoshopped to read, Trump was right.
Appropriate. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd almost forgotten your penchant for casual cruelty and dickfoolery. Flames! Nice touch on the graphics. Surely you won't be content with just... Surely you also see this as a merch opportunity.
The New York Post posted these images of President-elect Donald Trump driving a golf cart wearing a Trump was right about everything hat.
Trump was right about almost everything. I wouldn't say he was right about the outfit choice. Rule of thumb: never dress in the same color scheme as the upholstery of your own vehicle. Unless, wait, perhaps Trump has reached his highest form. Part man, part golf cart. And apparently, all cholesterol. I guess RFK Jr. Stat. Okay. But Trump is going to troll. The problem now is Republicans appear to want to attach their I told you so's as a condition of funding California's disaster relief.
I expect that there will be strings attached to money that is ultimately approved.
I think there should probably be conditions on that. That's my personal view.
Before we put funds into place, we've got to find out exactly how we're going to hold these leaders accountable and what sort of policy changes are required.
There can't be a blank check on this.
They don't deserve anything, to be honest with you, unless they show us they're going to make some changes.
What the is wrong with you? Really, Senator from Alabama? The state near the bottom in math, reading, and test scores? Next time you get hit by a hurricane, parent-teacher conference to see that if you got your scores up, you would get the money. Or actually, let's not do it, because you'll get the money anyway, because we're not psychos. That is psychotic. There's something wrong with you. And you know what? And here's the thing. I can do the Daily Show thing. I can run down all the Congress people and senators on the right calling for conditions on disaster aid that absolutely had the opposite view when it was their state on the line.
We need to do everything we can. We have citizens that are literally going to get worse by the day.
Shut the up. Because I can do it, but it doesn't even matter. I'm not even going to do it. Because red states are always the tragic victims of circumstance outside of their control. And Democrats always vote for their aid. Whereas blue state disasters are a function of their flawed morality and policy. And if we help blue state survivors, well, what message will that send? What lesson will they learn? But fine, if strings must be attached, what be the strings?
The problem with California is forestry management.
Oh, that's true. I didn't review it. That's true. The management of the forest. You have to rake the leaves, shut down the illegal elf tree cookie factory. I understand. And what a great, utterly anodyne suggestion. I mean, what forest couldn't be managed better? I mean, if you've been to a forest lately, chaos. It's chaos. It's dirt and leaves and what is that? Bear shit, I'm sure. I want to see the manager. Okay, so we get the money if we have better forest management. Everybody then gets food and clothes. What else?
They've not done the necessary work to make sure there's fresh water flowing into key areas.
Oh, water. No question. Water for the fire. I'm going to get that message to the firefighters. Totes sweet. Water is so important. Water is a terrific fire. I don't even want to say the R word. But as I always say, more. What do you got there, Mister? A fire? Nothing like water. Water works on all kinds of fire, except for one kind of fire, but I don't know which one that is, but odds are with you. Point taken. But forest management and get some water up here, and then your children may have blankets. These are all great pointers on how to mitigate fires, and I'm sure California has absolutely been trying. Water and forest management, maybe not good enough, but they have it. There's one thing you might not be considering as you criticize them, and that's this. I don't know what kind of a system you can develop that completely mitigates the risk of fire, plus drought conditions, plus 60 to 80 mile per hour winds, plus delicious wood. Look at this. Look what's happening right there. Do you see this? Fire to tornado. Rake your way out of that. You understand? I love the blame game. I love the blame game. I play it all the time. But the fires aren't out. And the fire to tornado. The only thing that would stop that is the absence of oxygen. Which, if I'm being honest, we could do. Hear me out. There's something called a cloche. A cloche is a covering. You've probably seen it in pie shops. You can put a cloche. Now, if I just very quickly, guys, that's the continental-sized cloche that we had on a previous program suggested for immigration reform. We need a little more casual. Guys, can you check on the sideboard behind the gravy frigates? It's not. If it's not there, it's under the sink. The California. That's it. The California cloche. Airtight. It's the best way to smother a Los Angeles-sized fire. And if you live in New Jersey, keep a pie fresh in a diner for 8 to 9 years. The cloche. I am going to make cloche happen. Years from now. And then I'm going to get a hat that says, Jon Stewart was right about everything. Hey, look. Hey, all you idiots are dead. Told you so. But these people don't actually care. They're not actually trying to find a solution. They're just trying to work their pet issues into this tragic situation. It's confusing, but thankfully some people are being more explicit in their conspiracy theories.
On X, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene asked, why don't they use geoengineering, like cloud seeding, to bring rain down on the wildfires in California? They know how to do it.
Who is they, Margaret? Are you perhaps referring to the they-ish people? Is that what it is, Margaret? The very same people that control the area on fire? Why would they, destroy the very industry they control? When we also have the means to bring the rains. We have space lasers, and we can bring rain. The clues are there, Margaret. Alex knows.
Alex Jones wrote that Los Angeles fires are part of a larger globalist plot to wage economic warfare and deindustrialize the United States before triggering total collapse.
Oh. All right, well, it's Alex Jones. He is certainly known for this type of thinking. I don't believe anyone is going to be taken in by this type of post.
Elon Musk responded to that post by writing, "True."
Now I feel sad. But unfortunately, a lot of the information that's out there is not correct. And because of poor forest management, that information just jumps, igniting into larger and larger nonsense infernos that coincidentally seem to reinforce whatever grudge any of these folks have against California, especially their ideology.
When you hear stories about state of Oregon sending 60 fire trucks, I haven't confirmed that myself yet, but they had to go to Sacramento to get emissions testing. Get them to LA where they're needed. I mean, this is woke on, this is woke on wild kind of stuff.
Oh, woke on wild. I remember those VHS tapes. Spring Breakers. Reading the autobiography of Malcolm X and putting on more clothes. Getting catcalled. Show us your privilege! By the way, as far as what he was saying, the whole thing is bullshit. The fire trucks were not sent to Sacramento to get emissions testing. They were sent there to be transitioned into minivans without their parents' consent. That's what happened. But man, if there is one thing harder to extinguish than the fires, it is the most resilient of the right's talking points.
The whole thing is a complete disaster. A lot of it comes back to DEI.
Kristen Crowley, the fire chief in Los Angeles, she's a very silly woman. The first gay female fire chief ever. Wow.
Under her is Christina Kepner, first lesbian assistant chief. Then under her is Christine Larson. They're all Christina. She's also a lesbian. Christina, lesbian.
What? What are you doing? You just summoned them! Do you understand? You can't just say the name 3 times! Do you know what you just unleashed onto this earth? From now on, it's just infernos and lesbian firefighters! I'm not sure Megan with a Y should be criticizing people named Christina. But apparently to the right, drought conditions, high winds, and densely stacked flammable structures were all fine until they added the lesbians. And then something peculiar happened.
What is your message to city administrators, starting with Mayor Bass?
My message is the fire department needs to be properly funded.
And it's not.
It's not at this point.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you?
Yes.
We need to be fully funded and supported so that our firefighters can do their jobs.
Lesbian firefighter has attacked Black Lady Mayor. Who will the right support? In this opposite of the Sophie's Choice. Really, I mean, in the hierarchy of DEI crimes, Black Lady Mayor, lesbian firefighter, I don't know which one of those is there. I want to say white whale, but that'd be wrong. Well, I'm not suggesting that DEI is not responsible for it. At least 99% of this tragedy. But devil's advocate. This is the Palisades in 1923. And that's not after a fire. It's just dead. It's like a desert. And someone decided to build a city there, a densely populated, albeit beautiful city in the middle of it. That's what they did. And I'm going to guess that the person whose idea it was wasn't a lesbian firefighter or a black lady mayor. We didn't even have lesbians back then until one snuck here from France in 1934. So stop with the DEI. Oh, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. The meritocracy built that city. The meritocracy created the dangerous conditions that made a tragedy like this almost inevitable. Don't take my word for it. I know the liberal argument sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher to your ear. Let me get someone who speaks to your frequency.
So I was talking to this guy and he was telling me, he goes, dude, one day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind and fire's going to start in the right place and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean and there's not a thing we can do about it.
Now, of course, he did go on to say, lesbians will make it worse. But the point is, man, we are humans. We build shit in difficult areas on the belief that we will figure out how to subdue God and nature. For God's sakes, 50 years they made a movie about what a dumb idea it would be to develop this city into the country's second largest metro area. Even they knew LA wasn't a good place to raise your daughter or your sister.
She's my daughter. My sister, my daughter.
Movies were wild in the 70s. Like, you could do anything in movies. Like, there's no, like, slap chord. Like, literally in that, they're like, James, do it again, this time with your fist. Like, they didn't give What? Sometimes things happen that are beyond the bounds of human infrastructure. Although, admittedly, the LA powers that be have not covered themselves in glory at this time.
Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL.
Look, I'm not saying she's Churchill, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, when the bombs start falling, don't worry, just insert useful information here. So yeah, improvements can be made in leadership, in management, in design, in materials, in myriad ways. But sometimes fire f***s a tornado and makes a mockery of human infrastructure and our ability to dictate the terms of our existence on this planet. But the one thing it shouldn't dictate is the cruelty that we would show to those in pain because we don't think they consistently vote right. But if you are gonna, please. But if you're gonna attach strings, I still think this announcement was too far.
Lost everything in a natural disaster? Introducing a new crowdfunding site from congressional Republicans. Go You. Go You is the #1 source for politicians to dangle money over your head while delivering a monologue about why they hate your politics. No matter how hard life gets, there are people who care about your mayor's DEI policies. So start a Go You today and sit back and wait for the helpful input about transgender athletes to roll in. Go You. Available in all blue states and any cities where the mayor is black or gay.
When we come back, we'll be talking about money. Don't go away.
For the first time ever, the Challenge All-Stars is coming exclusively to MTV, but with a twist.
Welcome to the Challenge All-Stars Rivals.
What the The Challenge All-Stars Rivals. New season coming to MTV Wednesday, January 29th.
want to hear this. He's a Canadian economist, former governor of the Bank of Canada and Bank of England. Please welcome to the program, Mark Carney. Sir. Welcome, sir. I welcome you to our land, America. We are soon to be...
well, there was a border when I came, John.
When was the last time you checked Twitter? So you've really involved yourself in... I remember you from 2008, and I mean this. Your work in helping Canada get through the economic crisis of 2008, the financial crisis that hit this country terribly, and I thought made a lot of really painful decisions for the people of this country. I thought Canada avoided the worst of that. And I believe you played a very strong role.
We did. I mean, thank you. We did.
You're so...
but we did because we didn't do things that we didn't understand. So we didn't let our banks do things that they didn't understand just because all the other banks were doing them. So subprime, CDO squared, really, fancy derivatives.
You're saying you thought, let's not let the banks dissolve mortgages into particulate matter, mix it into cups,
throw it off,
throw it in the air, and then sell that.
Throw it in the air, take a big profit, pay themselves a lot of money, and then it hits the ground.
How did you not have to do that?
We didn't understand it, John.
Son of a bitch. That's all it took.
That's all it took.
So you've gone off now, and you've worked with Brexit and the Bank of England trying to ease that.
On my idea.
Brexit wasn't.
Yeah.
No, you're Canadian. You're very polite. Very nice. You're never one of those like, I want to leave a union. No, you stay in it until it dies. What are they making up there of the overtures and sort of trolling to Canada about being a part of the United States?
Well, I mean, the bottom line is not going to happen. The overture. I mean,
because you don't want.
Well, we're proud. We find you very attractive, but we're not moving in with you. It's not you. It's us. We do things a little differently in Canada. We believe in.
I just want to, before you go any further, I'm up for it. We're up for it. Whatever you do differently, we want to experiment too. What do you guys want? You want like
we can be friends. There can be a few benefits, John. Friends with benefits, but not benefits of trade, benefits of defense.
Right. No, we'll be cool about it. We won't levy tariffs on all your goods as retribution for you not going out with us. We respect your boundaries. Is there a fear now that there will be an economic trade war with Canada? How much of this do you believe is bluster, and how much preparation do you need to do for it?
Well, we have to prepare for it, and I think you look at what happened 5-6 years ago when we did have a similar situation with the trade war.
But there was only lumber, and there was only a few things.
Lumber's very important to us, John. It's fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right?
Why do I feel like I feel like you're breaking up with me the entire interview?
We're resetting the relationship, and we're going to be stronger. We're going to be stronger going forward because, as you say,
I'm just getting swiped left hard as hell here. Do you think this time, look, I don't know that Americans know that 50% of, our fuel comes from Canada.
Yeah, the electricity for this show comes from
not this show.
You got some solar up on the.
Ours only comes from Venezuela. We're that leftist. It's that bad.
Well, that brings a point. 4.5 million barrels, a little more than that, of oil come from Canada to the United States. And if you don't take that oil, the way your refineries are, your other option is Venezuela.
No, so that's... It's funny you bring that up. We're taking them over as well.
Okay.
Are you surprised at, is America generally, I think we've always been known as, we like to live our values and speak them. It feels like this administration is going to be more explicit about what's really happening. Hey, what's up, Greenland? I don't know if you know this, but you have something under your soil that we want, so you're ours. I feel like past administrations would do the same thing, but they would be like, and we're liberating you. Like, they would make it a high-minded affair.
Yeah.
Is it easier to deal with someone that is transactional at his core in that way? Take your time.
Yeah, I'm going to take my time. No, I think in the end it's not. Because in the end, in a relationship, I'm going to keep the relationship thing.
Oh my God.
If we're going to
Did
build...
you just get out of therapy? What is happening? I feel like every time I say something, you're like, I hear you.
I hear you. I made a few resolutions this year, John, and it was still in January. But you've got to have some shared values. You've got to be able to predict how the other's going to behave. So it's not just a series of transactions.
Right.
Look, we can do a series of transactions. We're fine. We're in a strong position. You want to do a series of deals? We can do that.
Yeah.
What's much better is to look at everything we've had, John, together.
You were just about to lean into like, look, man, if it's late and you're drunk, you call us. It's cool.
Yeah.
But I would rather we mean something to each other.
Yeah.
So that we get something out of this together.
Like Sunday afternoon in the park.
That's what I'm talking about. So right now there is turmoil. Trudeau has resigned.
Yes.
There will be new elections. Do you know when the new elections are?
They have to be by October.
Okay.
They could come soon.
Sooner than October?
Sooner than October, yes.
Now, what would be the trigger of the election sooner?
Well, it would be likely the choice of the current governing party, which is the Liberal Party.
And you are of the Liberal Party?
I am of the Liberal Party, yes.
Are they looking for a new leader?
I think they might be, John.
Sir, may I recommend to you, with your charm and debonair wit, yet strong financial backbone, that you offer yourself have you offered yourself as leader?
I just started thinking about it.
The Conservatives have, and this will blow your mind. So the Conservatives are run by Pierre Poilievre.
Yes.
Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
It's a fictional J.K. Rowling name at best. Pierre Poilievre. This always fascinates me. I want to show this. This is Trudeau, obviously. The other guy is Pierre Poilievre. It looks like, and he is really Trudeau's rival. Yes. They look like two fictional boys' school rivals. In
Thank you. My car's an asshole.
Seems like a villain in a Karate Kid movie. Like there's something.
I really thought since I put it in chill there that it would just stay in its lane. But shit, it saved probably a couple minutes passing all that traffic. Definitely an asshole move, but considering I'll just blame Elon on that one.
They tend to worship the market. They've never actually worked in the private sector.
Right.
And they see opportunity in tragedy, like you just had with the California fires, these horrible fires.
Correct.
And they see opportunity in tragedy to push an agenda that, here's one they prepared earlier, and they fit it in. And so, whether it was Brexit here, often the starve the beast type approach. So Pierre Poilievre, when COVID started, his reaction was, this is a good time to cut spending and cut taxes. Everyone's just been pushed out of a job. Nobody's got work, so let's cut the taxes on the work they don't have, and let's take away the social safety net when everybody's vulnerable.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did that work out for people? For people
Well,
out of their
unfortunately,
home?
he was in opposition, so.
Oh, that was his idea.
That was his idea. Yeah.
Ah, and
Yeah.
the people now see the headwinds for this more right-wing populism, though, are all around the world, and it feels like Canada is no different there. I mean, did Trudeau bow out because he knew he wouldn't win? Is this an attempt to give the Liberal Party there a chance?
I think it does give the Liberal Party a chance, yes.
Right. And he did that purposefully.
He came to that, he came to that conclusion.
He came to that conclusion, or Nancy Pelosi called him and said?
Somewhere in the middle.
Satirical comedy shows up there did a bit that made fun of him for 5 minutes, and he fell apart. Who are the top contenders right now that you believe give the Liberal Party the best chance? Polyev is going to be their champion, yes?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Who would give the best opportunity?
Well, I think in a situation like this, you need change. You need to address the economy. We've got an economic crisis because of what Mr. Trump is about to do, or saying he's about to do. But we also have challenges in housing, cost of living.
Did you have the same inflationary pressures that we faced here?
I can debate the absolute level, but we had the same inflationary pressures as well.
No, we will debate the absolute level right
Well,
here.
I don't think.
Right now.
I think Canadians been very hard pressed in the last few years.
Right.
Wages have not kept up with inflation. People are falling behind, not getting ahead. Housing's very expensive, and there's this broader concern. Again, exclamation point put on by the Trump tariffs about what the future brings. The world's more divided, it's more dangerous. What are we going to do? And truth be told, the government has been not as focused on those issues as it could be. We need to focus on them immediately. That can happen now, and that's what this election is.
Can I tell you something? I feel like I'm looking in a mirror. We just had that election.
Yeah.
Run. And when I say run, I mean not for office. I mean run.
Yeah.
The other way. It's so hard. It's when the headwinds are like that. It's really difficult for a candidate to come in who is saddled with the policies that are
But let's say.
Oh boy.
Let's say, just throwing out a
look
wild.
At you trying to preserve the relationship all of a sudden.
A wild hypothetical. Let's say the candidate wasn't part of the government. Let's say the candidate did have a lot of economic experience. Let's say the candidate did deal with crises. Let's say the candidate had a plan to deal with the challenges in the here and now.
You sneaky. You're running as an outsider.
I am an outsider.
Wow, that's all. So you're going to be coming in there to say, I have not been in the government. I have worked in the financial markets. I understand all the things that go around trade. I mean, you worked. Look, let's take the California fires. You've done an awful lot with the banks, with insurance industries. So you understand very particularly what's happening out there in California.
Very particularly. I mean, 10 years ago, Governor of the Bank of England, you oversee the Lloyd's of London, which does all the insurance for exactly this type of stuff. 10 years ago, they're saying there's going to be a lot more fires. So we're going to have a lot less insurance. A lot less insurance, as we've seen, unfortunately, in California. And it's an absolute tragedy what people are going through. A lot less insurance. A place like Canada. Last year, you may have noticed, here in New York, we had a few fires in Canada.
Yes. I was going to talk to you about that later.
The fires in Canada, including where I was born, my hometown, Fort Smith, Northwest Territories, around where I grew up. These fires.
One second, really?
Small town.
From Alberta, and they've probably been sleeping the whole time they heard the name. We got the fires.
We got the fires, John.
Yeah.
If the fires alone would have made Canada the fourth largest emitter in the world after the United States, China.
Just the fires.
Just the fires alone. And this, you could see this coming 10 years ago. Los Angeles. So they've been pulling back, and still, even with all that sophistication, the number of these extreme weather events that they insure have gone up 3 times, and the cost of it has gone up 5 times. So they are furiously back.
And this gets us to the rub, which I think
We're almost back.
I feel like we're in such a mess when it comes to
And you can get out and run around, chase Jethro.
and what can we reasonably expect people's virtue to accomplish. You know, you've championed with the banking industry.
Maybe even chase the ball.
Projects, we've championed climate projects. As soon as these big banks got a hold that Donald Trump was going to be back in office, they all bailed. They all bailed on all these commitments that they made. And you're left in some ways holding the carbon tax bag. Is that going to make your running more difficult?
Wow, you packed a lot into that.
I did. Can I tell you something? I read your Wikipedia page.
Remind me to edit it later on. 2 things. One, what the banks, and it's only the American banks, but what they decided to do, is to focus.
I didn't know there were other banks. Go ahead.
Focus on financing. But in terms of, for Canada, what we need to do is make sure that we're addressing these issues, doing our bit, making our companies more competitive, because you know what's going to happen in the United States? 5 years from now, you're going to care about it again, right? You're going to have an election, you're going to care about it again. And we better be in a position where we've done our bit at that point. But we need to do it in a way that Canadians today are not paying the price.
Right. Now, how do you do that? That's the rub. How do you make proactive measures on future disasters feasible in a political moment today? Every time I've seen a gas tax or a carbon tax floated, it's not politically feasible. So
the vast majority of our emissions in Canada come from our industry. In fact, almost 30% of our emissions from Canada come from the production and shipment of oil to the United States.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, yeah. So part of it is cleaning that up, getting those emissions down, more than changing in a very short period of time the way Canadians live.
Right, but you're not obviously going to take away our oil. You're gonna.
We'd like to take, well, you don't apparently want the oil as much as you used to.
We want it very much. Have you decided to run yet? Because a lot of people in the Liberal Party in Canada have said specifically they will not run. I think they fear the headwinds in this election. Well, have you decided?
Can I say one thing on that?
Please.
I want to defend, this is a very important point. So if you look at our foreign minister, Mélanie Joly, our finance minister, Dominic LeBlanc, Steve McKinnon, who's our labor minister, they are not running, in part because there's a crisis right now because of the threat of the Trump tariffs. So
they're saying I won't run because I want to focus on...
They're country before party and personal ambition, and it's absolutely right.
So, but do you say...
Well, I don't have a job. I don't have a job, yeah.
You don't have a job presently.
No, I do, but it's UN
You're
dollar
being
day.
so coy with me. I love the chase. I love this cat and mouse.
Well, we had to shake things up.
We are having we've spiced up our relationship tremendously throughout this interview. So, congratulations on announcing on this program that you are running to be the leader. We seal it with a handshake. Mark Carney, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this. Sure.
This inauguration night,
it's going to get crazy.
The Daily Show is all new with Jon Stewart at the desk.
Yes. To everything that you guys were saying.
Bringing you coverage you can swear by.
The winner moves into the White House and the incumbent just wanders off into the jungle.
Comedy Central's The Daily Show. Complete inauguration coverage. New next Monday at 11 on Comedy Central and streaming next day on Paramount Plus.
Touches of black. They say a lot without having to say much. They stand for elegance, refinement, and prestige. Even a little can way. And though they're darker than the darkest night, they make you see everything in a new light. The Kia X-Line Nightfall Collection.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Businesses start small, but a lot of them take off. As your business grows, ShipStation grows with you, so you can sync and manage all your orders, no matter how big you get. ShipStation's custom automations maximize your team's time. Plus, you get more carrier options at the lowest possible rates. Keep your business growing. Head to ShipStation.com to start your free trial today.
It's a hard conversation to have. When you die, this is what's going to happen.
All right, like the digs.
It's close. My perception of estate planning was lawyers and questions that I wouldn't know answers to.
Having a trust, having a will, make sure that those things and those people are taken care of. Trust and will makes it really easy and succinct for people to go out there and create their estate plan.
Having a plan in place, it was a huge relief.
Create your estate plan at trustandwill.com.
What you all did 5 months ago was one of the most painful moments in the history of this company.
Our message got out. He said we're famous. All of us equally, or one of us is like the star?
What did you see? My Allie's wife was Miss Casey.
If you want to find out what happened to her, I'll help.
She's still alive. We should have left. I want to see my wife.
The bold Louisiana flavor and crispy crunch of Popeye's signature chicken is the meal your craving deserves. And now you can get 3 pieces for just $5 and make it a meal for only $3 more.
You're seeing Skechers' famous glide step footwear everywhere. And now that famous design is available in hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Get the comfort and style of glide step now with the convenience of slip-ins, with no bending down or touching your shoes. Try glide step Skechers slip-ins.
I'm certain it's level 5.
Are you for imprint certain?
I'm certain it's level 5.
Certainty matters, like the certainty of 4imprint. Your home for high-quality promotional gear, including exclusive items and brands they love. Printed perfectly and guaranteed to arrive on time. To wow your clients, nail your next event, or inspire your team, check out 4imprint.com. 4imprint, for certain.
As a mom of 2 boys, we're always looking for something to do. It's great knowing that we're all covered for emergencies and annual checkups.
I'm saving up to buy a house. I want to avoid big medical bills. I have a plan that covers everything.
We have fun down here. From the most trusted journalists at Comedy Central, it's America's only source for news. This is The Daily Show with your host, Jordan Clever.
Congress is super horny. Republicans pretend to vet Trump's cabinet, and we get mixology tips from Pete Hegseth. So, let's get into another installment of Trump 2.0 coming for the White House.
I'm gonna come.
I truly hate that. So, Donald Trump becomes president on Monday, and that means, I know, I hate Mondays too. But it means we're invading Greenland on Tuesday. So we gotta decide who is going to lead the Armada, which is why today the Senate held its first confirmation hearing for Pete Hegseth, Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary and dude who makes sure everyone at the frat house has their stories straight. Now, since he was nominated a couple months ago, we found out a lot about Hegseth, and most of it does not inspire confidence. He's been accused of sexual assault, he was accused of nearly running a veterans group into the ground, and he has a documented history of excessive drinking, which we learned even more about today.
A Hegseth acquaintance describes a breakfast they had with Hegseth in the spring of 2023. We met at Fox News in New York for breakfast, and he suggested we go across the street to a bar. It was like 10 in the morning. Then he ordered 2 gin and tonics at the same time for himself. Then he had a 3rd gin and tonic.
Whoa, Hegseth is rolling up to breakfast like, I'll have the steel-cut oatmeal and 3 gin and tonics, please. You know what they say, beer before liquor, never been sicker. Liquor before liquor, I'll have another liquor. This definitely raises some questions for the person you may want to put in charge of the nukes. So, let's jump into today's confirmation hearing. And you know what, I'm not saying he showed up drunk, but it did start at 10 a.m. So how about we start with a quick sobriety test? You know, something simple. Pete, how about name your kids?
We're back. Our 7 wonderful kids. Gunnar, Jackson, Peter Boone, Kensington, Luke, Rex. Sorry, it's a lot of them.